playing well at home. I mean, has that been one of the more disappointing parts of this early season, considering how
Sure.
dominant you guys were at home?
Yeah, we've stunk. I mean, we've lost 3 out of our last 4 games at home. I know last year's a different team, but this team, we've not done well. I mean, you got to give up a good team. LSU's a good team. I mean, it's not like they stink, but we had a chance to win the game and didn't make some of the plays that were there. And we didn't play well offensively, mostly in that game. And then the Syracuse game, we just didn't even start playing defense till the third quarter. So again, give them credit, but yeah, we really didn't play well in any game until North Carolina. Collectively, as we've had some players play well every week. It's just been, kind of, all right, tag, you're it. So we just haven't played well as a team, and so, but they've had 2 good games, and they've played really well, complimentary football, and so now we gotta, we've gone from Chapel Hill to Chestnut Hill. Now we're back on the hill, and we need to keep playing well.
You said after the Syracuse game that it might be good to get away from home for a couple of games. Do you feel like playing at home brings just more pressure, and that maybe that's part of the equation?
I mean, it ain't ever been that way. I mean, even as bad as we've been here in this little stretch, I think we're probably top 3 in the nation in home wins in the last, 12, 13, 14 years or so. It's a tough place to play, but and every team's different. I mean, every season's different. I don't look at it. I just like some teams overachieve, some teams underachieve. I just go season by season, and we've had a bunch of good seasons and mostly great seasons at home, for sure. But we got to get back to playing well here. I give LSU some credit. I think they're a pretty good team. So, and then we just kind of got in a funk, and they just some of our best players not playing well, and just couldn't like bail each other out, and you get beat. So that's college football. I mean, you can get beat. It's hard to win every single week, and especially when you don't play well. But it's good again for them to just be able to see it these last couple of weeks, collectively as a group, and hopefully that momentum will carry over in this game. But it ain't gonna get any easier. I mean, every game is. We play good people. It's a really good team, and we got to play well. If we play well, then it shouldn't matter where we play. If I've said that since the day I got this job. If you're only going to win at home, you're not going to be very good. But that was a big goal of mine when I got this job, because we weren't a great home winning team. I mean, we were good, but not great. And in my 17 years, we've been great. We've been great at home. Great, not good. We've been great, but as of late, we've stunk. And we got to get that turned around. And so how do you do that? Well, you do what winning requires. It's the same stuff. Nothing changes. You gotta play well. You gotta earn the right to win. You gotta take the ball away. You gotta create some stops. You gotta be explosive. You gotta have more big plays than the opponent. You gotta be able to run the ball, stop the run. You play with discipline. You play with great effort. You play with physicality. You make some plays in special teams. You don't have a bunch of stupid penalties. I mean, it doesn't matter where you play. You got to earn the right to win. But we've got to get back on track. That's been a real disappointment, at this point. So, good news is we get some more opportunity. So we got to hopefully we can start a new streak. But we're gonna have to play well. We got to earn it. Ain't nobody gonna come in here and bow down.
Welcome to Believe in Clemson Football. I'm Will Vandervort. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. That's our producer, Alex Dodd. A little slow with the trigger there. But
I'm being as fast as I can. But you got to hit 10 buttons, and you can't hit them all at once. And you only have so many fingers.
Well, the best thing is people don't see behind the scenes when that's going on. Alex is eating as fast as he can as he's trying to suck up his dinner.
I had some nice shin ramen tonight. That'll hold me over to the end of the show.
I love how he says to the end of the show. In other words, some more food's going to be consumed and maybe something else, Alex, while you're watching the baseball playoffs tonight, right?
Yeah, Will's going to eat 15 Taco Bell tacos tonight.
Well, they're regular tacos, not Taco Bell. They're
okay, well, there
yeah,
you go.
Yeah. So it'll be 15 of my tacos tonight as we get done, because you know how I love tacos. But appreciate you guys joining us. We won't talk any more food because I'm sure some of you guys might not have eaten and are hungry as well. Anyways,
we don't want to make you too hungry.
I mean, we could do a whole podcast on food, Alex. You know, me and you'll be fine at that.
We could do like overtime, like at the end of the show tonight. We'll hit end and we'll hit start again, and we'll just talk about food. We could do that.
We could do that. Well, that was Dabo Swinney, though, as you guys know before us. You saw him wearing his Tiger for Tatas shirt as today was promoting the. This is going to be Clemson's breast cancer awareness game this week against SMU. So they'll be wearing their pink and stuff like that. And I hope you fans will do the same, where you're. Go over and get go over to CCP, the War FM, and order your Tiger for Tata shirt, because it goes for breast cancer awareness, goes to the All In Foundation, Dabo Swinney Foundation. And so, you'll be supporting a great cause. Dabo, if you want to go watch that, you can go to our YouTube video and watch Dabo's talk about that and the statistics and all the great things that the Tigers for Tatas have done for breast cancer awareness and what it's done to help raise a lot of money. It's one of the great things that happens in the upstate of South Carolina this time of year. And Dabo and Kathleen Swinney do such a great job with it. It's dear to their heart because, as Dabo has said, obviously Kathleen Swinney lost her sister to breast cancer. She's also had some situations with it herself. And then, of course, Dabo lost his uncle. That's right, uncle to breast cancer. It does affect men as well, so it's not just women. So, go check that out. And when you come help give and support it, it doesn't take much. You can give whatever you want, $1 or $100,000. It doesn't matter. I think Dabo happy either way. So go do that. And but anyway, Alex, always a good cause this week when they have their breast cancer awareness game.
Absolutely, I'm sure you'll be wearing your pink shirt on Saturday for the cause. And like you mentioned, the All In Foundation and their Tigers for Tatas initiative does so much for people in the upstate and beyond. And head over and support those guys. Yeah,
this is the only time of year I wear pink. I don't wear pink any other time. I don't like pink. I don't look good in pink, but I do it because of what this means, and do it obviously for Kathleen and Dabo as well. So anyway, Alex, Dabo Swinney was very, very direct there. That right now they suck at home. That's pretty much what he said. They suck at home. The Tigers have lost 4 straight games to Power 4 opponents dating back to last year's Louisville game. They've lost to Louisville at home, South Carolina at home, LSU at home, and Syracuse at home. Alex, that's the first time since 1994-95 that Clemson has lost 4 straight games to Power 5 opponents. I might have to look up at some point this week just because I need to, because SMU is a really good team, and they're more than capable coming into Death Valley and winning this game Saturday. I need to look up at some point, when's the last time they lost 5 in a row? And I hate to look that up, but I have to have it ready.
But that's kind of where this team is at, right now. And we have talked about it on the show, and we've talked about it off the show that, honestly, you feel more comfortable with this team going on the road nowadays than you do with them playing at home. And, that's obviously something that Dabo's concerned about. You saw it in that clip, where he said, when he took the job, he wanted Clemson to be great at home. And over the last, 12 years, they've been great at home. But in the last couple, that hasn't been the case. And you'd like to see a get-right game. The other thing is his last 2 wins were against, bad teams. And you want to see a win against a good team on Saturday, and SMU is bringing a good football team into Death Valley.
So, Alex, from 2013 to 2022, Clemson was 64-1 at home.
Wow.
That goes back. That started after that loss to Florida State in 2013.
Yep.
all the way to 2022. The only loss during that time was a loss to Pittsburgh in 2016 on the last-second field goal. They won 40 straight games, which is the longest home winning streak in college football since 1994-95, when Miami lost its streak of 55 straight home wins. So in 30 years, nobody has done what Clemson's done. Georgia had 33. That's still way off of Clemson's 40.
Yep.
I think last week Oregon had its home winning streak end. Notre Dame had theirs in last year. So like these home winning streaks that all these teams had have ended. Alabama had theirs in, right, a few years back. So 40 games Clemson won in a row at home. Nobody's done that since Miami's run that they had in the last 30 years. That is an amazing streak. That was an unbelievable streak. That's how dominant Clemson was. And what Dabo said today was, we used to be great at home. We're not anymore. And he said that was something that they were big on changing, because he says they were good at home. When he was an assistant, he wanted to get them great at home, which he did. Now they're not even good at home. I mean,
they're kind of crappy.
As he said, they suck.
Yeah, the last 2 years, kind of crappy.
Kind of crappy at home. Only 2 wins in the last 6 home games to the FCS Citadel and then Group of Five Troy.
Yep.
That's it. So now we'll get into a little bit more of this later, because we got some business to take care of, but we'll get into more here.
We got to get paid. We got to get paid.
Alex got paid this week. I know he enjoyed it. I got paid this week. I enjoyed it. So we want to make sure we keep getting paid. So first of all, welcome to Believe in Clemson, presented by FanDuel. I want to make sure I get that in there, because FanDuel is our main sponsor. So go on over to FanDuel for the sports book. Get all the bets you want, all the props you want. Go over and check them out. But also, we're sponsored by the Clemson Insider, the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting. Go on over to the ClemsonInsider.com today, and we got all kinds of free articles for you, because that's what we are. We're free, so it's for me.
Come on.
Go check it out. I got stories up there. We got Ashby's got stories. We got JP's got some recruiting stories going on. As Clemson had some news break today, so you might want to go check that out if you haven't. All kinds of free content on the boards. We got videos if you go to our YouTube page as well. So go to the Clemson Insider for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics. Alex, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I mean, you got basketball on there that's getting started here.
That's right.
Like a few days.
Friday.
Game. Yeah, this week. And then you got fall baseball stuff. I saw JP had a good fall baseball story that he put up this weekend. So, man, just a ton of stuff on the Clemson Insider. Everything you need from Clemson Athletics, head over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we also want to thank our other sponsor, as I get that pulled up here, the all-new Smoke on the Water, which will be located at 64 Beacon Drive on Restaurant Road off Pelham Road in Greenville, South Carolina. Smoke on the Water will open at its new location here in the next couple of weeks, Alex. By early November, they're expected. Everything, from what I understand, is still on schedule. So the all-new Smoke on the Water will feature its same famous smoked meats it had before, the pulled pork, the brisket, the beer butt chicken, and prime rib. But a few new things will appear on the menu as well. Also, its signature 5 barbecue sauces will be there to complement, not smother, any of its smoked meats. Like before, the all-new Smoke on the Water will have Greenville's best happy hour, and it will feature live acoustic acts. Smoke on the Water, owned by Mike Schuler, was a staple in downtown Greenville for 18 years before being forced out of the previous location by its new landlords. Right now, the all-new Smoke on the Water is available for catering and has its food truck. For more information, call 864-232-9091. The all-new Smoke on the Water will be at 64 Beacon Drive on Restaurant Row off of Pelham Road. Again, that's 864-232-9091 for more information. We appreciate all of them. Appreciate you guys listening to us. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Sirius XM. I think we're on. Somebody told me we're on like some. I can't remember where it was the other day.
Podcast. I mean, we're on anywhere that you get your podcasts. We're there.
We're there.
So if you got to cut out, you got to eat dinner with your family because we made you hungry and start talking about food at the beginning of the show. go do that. You can come back and listen to us in the morning.
Absolutely. Go get some donuts in the morning in your car.
Hey, play it at your tailgate. If you don't want to hear commercials, you can play it
because we're going to talk football. We're going to talk shop. You can play it at the tailgate, and you can hear all the good stuff. So, Alex, we mentioned Clemson's funk they've been in. Is it not surprising to you that Clemson, like, you feel better about Clemson going on the road than you actually feel about Clemson playing at home?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're in that home win streak where it feels like Clemson's never going to lose, and if they do, something crazy has to happen. Which, I mean, let's call it, that Pitt game was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much crazy stuff that happened in that game. When you're in that, you feel like you're never going to lose at home again.
Yeah.
So to be where you are now, you're almost like, kind of looking back, like, how'd you get here? Because, yeah, I mean, for a long time, it felt like Clemson was unbeatable at home. Like Death Valley really was where opponents went to die. I mean, you had no chance walking in there. I see somebody got in here on the comments. It was Rob Ellen, that NC State kicker, probably thinks about that wide right miss every day. But those are the kind of things that happen at Death Valley. It was so hard to win there that you couldn't even make chip shot field goals. And now, man, it feels like dealer's choice when you're coming on the road. So
it does. Appreciate Rob getting in. Hey, if you want to get in, please put some comments in there. Alex will pull them up. We'll ask questions. I mean, you can ask questions. We'll answer those questions. You can ask us anything you want as long as it's clean. We're a clean show. I like to make sure I don't have to check that box that says R-rated. So as long as it's clean, we appreciate it. Please jump in and give us comments, ask us questions. We'll be more than happy to pull them up throughout the show and answer your questions and comments there. But no, it's when I think about Clemson, and I got to look, I can't remember the last time Alex Clemson lost 3 games at home. I mean, the only time I could probably think that maybe it happened, because I would say maybe if I may have to go back to 1998.
Wow.
Thinking about that, I mean, that's the last time that they've lost 3 games at home in a season. And right now they're 1-2 at home. You got a loss to LSU and a loss to Syracuse. Alex,
and and it's not like your home schedule is getting easier.
No,
let's call it what it is. I mean, you got SMU, you got
Duke.
maybe, Duke, a game that you thought maybe would be one of your easier ones, but
you see the standings scrolling across the ACC standings.
Yep.
The Duke right now in first place, tied for first place with Georgia Tech and Virginia. SMU technically still in first place too. They're 2-0. They're undefeated in conference play. And then even though they're not playing well right now, and they
haven't won an ACC game in 388 days now.
Right, it's still Florida State, and that's your other one coming in. So that's your next 3 home games, and that's going to be a challenge. I mean, that's a challenge. Those 3 games are here. It's 3 straight at home. You feel good about that, but it's also 3 very difficult teams at home, and you're 1-2 right now, and you got to keep it going. You got to win this week against SMU to even things up and get to 2-2 to give yourself a chance not to be, have a losing record or 500 record at home this year, which that just blows my mind to think, Alex. I mean, that's possible.
Yeah.
Clemson could have a losing record at home. That is very possible.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely possible. I mean, like we're talking about these next 3 games. I mean, these are the games that are going to define your season. You're either going to turn it around or you're going to be in serious trouble closing out the season over these next 3 games. So, I was listening to Qualk and Ben, I believe it was yesterday, and on WCCP, and Ben Milstead said, who would have thought halfway through the year you'd be looking down the schedule counting for bowl eligibility? But even though you played well the last 2 weeks, that's still where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're still fighting for bowl eligibility.
That's crazy to think Clemson's fighting for bowl eligibility. It just doesn't make sense to me. But kind of going back to the home stretch, though. All right, so this week that I got to imagine, and I expect Death Valley to be packed this week.
Absolutely.
I expect it to be first of all, it's a rematch of the ACC Championship game from last year. SMU's first visit here. I mean, this place should be packed. It's a big game. The team needs you, if you will. this place needs to be loud. It needs to make it very difficult for SMU to communicate. You need to, I think part of what made Clemson special during that 40-game home win streak was the crowd.
Yep.
And, the crowd was always loud and I mean, think about the teams Clemson beat during that streak. It's not like they just beat up on the Sisters of the Poor.
Right.
I mean, they beat some good Florida State teams during that streak. They beat Auburn.
You beat a Lamar Jackson Louisville team.
Yeah, you beat Texas A&M. You beat, you obviously you took care of business against South Carolina. I mean, they beat some teams that were difficult games and rivalries and stuff. And the crowd was a big reason why they won. You know why that kicker missed that field goal? It was because of the crowd.
Right.
He got nervous, a loud crowd. He rushed his kick, and he did, I remember that kick went wide right. Remember, Alex, how it's like everybody at that stadium just like was cheering, and you couldn't hear. It was deafening in that stadium that day. Just the memorable games during that 40-game win streak. And Clemson just had opportunities during that streak. I mean, had opportunities to lose several of those games, but they found ways to win. Well, the reason they did it was because they had the 12th man, if you will. Right. And the 12th man, I think, got Clemson over the top in a lot of occasions. That Louisville game, why did Clemson win that Louisville game that you talked about? Well, remember when Louisville's driving to score the winning touchdown? Remember what happened on first down on that set of downs when they got the ball down to the 12-yard line? Illegal procedure penalty. Yep. Well, how did that happen? Crowd noise.
Yeah. And also thinking back, like even the last couple years when Clemson's, had some struggles early in the season, when Clemson's been able to turn it around and find some momentum in the middle of the year, it's been the crowd that's picked them up and helped them do that. I mean, you think back
the Notre Dame game a couple years ago.
You think about the Notre Dame game a couple years ago. You think about the North Carolina game where they had umpteen illegal procedures and false starts in that game because of the crowd. Mm-hmm. You think of 2021 when Sam Hartman and Wake Forest
top 10 Wake Forest team, top 10
coming into Death Valley, and the crowd really got after him and energized the team. So I think the crowd's a big aspect of it. I don't think that it's the crowd's fault that the team has lost.
No,
their
it's
last
not
four
at
against Power 5 opponents. Like we want to say that. That's definitely not the case, but the crowd can be a big reason they turn it around against SMU this weekend.
Yeah, and the crowd was great against LSU, and I thought the crowd was really good. It was a good crowd against Syracuse for a noon kickoff. I thought it was, it was almost sellout, 79,000 people there. I mean, it was a good crowd, and they were into the game. They were jacked, and we're not saying the crowd at all had any reason why. I mean, Dabo explained why they lost those games, and they lost those games because the players that are supposed to play well, as he mentioned, haven't played well.
Yeah.
At home. And he's like, that's why they've lost these games, because these guys just aren't playing well. And now the good news for Clemson is the last couple of weeks they've played well. They've played really well. Cade Klubnik is finding his groove right now. You can see that. We're going to talk a little bit about Cade Klubnik and his injury situation, by the way, here in a few minutes. But he's played well. The wide receivers have played well. The offensive line had its best game of the season the other day against Boston College.
The defense
was outstanding against Boston College. Peter Woods was the man in that game as he just dominated them up front. They could not block him. Jaheim Lawson, again, continues to get better and better each week. TJ Parker had another good game again. Dabo talked about that today. Khalil Barnes in the secondary played much better, looked really good last week, getting more and more physical back there. The linebackers continue to play well. You're seeing that defense kind of take that next step that we were talking about, Alex. And, of course, this week's going to be, and we're going to get into that when we talk about SMU here in a little bit. It's going to be a big of a challenge this week, obviously, with SMU coming to town and that offense. But, man, the good news is those guys that weren't playing well early in the season are now starting to play well.
Right.
And they're starting to get their stuff going. And they're going to have to play really well for Clemson to win this game Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And we can kind of get into it a little bit here about SMU if you want, since we're kind of segueing there, or we can go back and look at Boston College, whatever. But I mean, this is a team that's going to test you with their offense and the way they're able to spread the ball and move quickly and get down the field. I mean, this isn't a team that's going to be taking forever in the huddle to get up the line of scrimmage. They're going to be moving the ball down the field, and they're going to test your depth on Saturday, and you got to be ready.
Yeah, and we are going to get into SMU, but I do want to mention though about the Boston College game for a couple reasons. First of all, I know fans from an offensive standpoint were like, "Oh, well, you played another high school team," and they're right. I mean, you really can't judge what the offense did, but the offense did what they're supposed to do, and they played, as I mentioned last week, they played a high school defense against Syracuse and didn't play well.
Right.
They played a high school defense against Troy and didn't play well. Okay, so that's back-to-back weeks where they've played well on offense, and Cade Klubnik's looked good in back-to-back weeks. I like the play calling and how they're doing things. I liked how they changed things up this week. They didn't go all heavy on Adam Randall. They really kind of just did their thing in the passing game with everybody, got everybody involved. Another great game by Cade Klubnik, and he got the Leather Helmet Award and stuff like that. So kudos to him and congrats there. But more, I want to talk about the defense because nobody's talked about it. Boston College offensively was good. And you saw that in the first half when they were, they were tempo in Clemson, and they went down the field and scored 10 points to keep themselves in the game early on. And then things changed there near the end of the first half. It's 24-10. They're driving, and what happens? Clemson gets a turnover, strip sack, fumble. And Clemson goes down and scores a touchdown right there and makes it 31-10. Then on the next series, they stop Boston College on a 4th and 4 play, which they get the ball near midfield, kick a quick field goal. Alex, it's 34-10. Your defense set that up, and then the rest of the game, Boston College had 51 yards of total offense after that.
Yep.
And so your defense dominated Boston College. So from middle of the second quarter to the end of the game, they dominated Boston College, a team that had a very good offense that averaged 311 yards passing per game. You held them to 137.
Yep.
I mean, your defense did
that's
good.
Daggum impressive. And the defense, too, like you mentioned that second quarter. And how great they were at the end of that second quarter. I mean, in the last 5 minutes and 31 seconds, you score, 17 points?
Yes.
In the last 5.5 minutes of the quarter. And that doesn't happen without your defense getting off the field fast. And that's been a problem this season, even a little bit at North Carolina. You still, like that first drive for North Carolina, they choose some clock, they move down the field. This week, first drive, 3 and out.
3 and out.
And then in that second quarter, you're able to get off the field quick and get your offense back on the field. It's amazing what happens with this Garrett Riley offense. We mentioned the play calling.
Yes.
I think part of the play calling issues in those early season games is just low possession football games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard in a offense that's predicated on tempo and rhythm like the air raid. It's hard to get a rhythm when you don't have the ball. When you don't have the opportunity to have sustained drives, or you're playing in a hole and you have to throw it 3 times. And then, if you have a bad throw, a drop, and a sack, your drive's over. So when you get opportunities, when you get the football in this offense, it changes things. And the defense really set it up. And this was definitely the best example of complementary football that we've seen from this team this year.
Absolutely. The special teams played well too. And that's always big.
Let's talk about Clay Sweeney.
Oh my gosh!
How much grief have you heard from a certain segment of Clemson fans over the years about Dabo playing his kids and Clay Sweeney? Man, that's a momentum play. If that ball gets over his head on the field goal, the last second field goal in the second quarter, that might be a scoop and score.
It could be a house call.
Yeah, that could be a house call and completely change the character of the game. But instead, Clay Sweeney makes the holder play of the year, and reaches up and grabs the football, and you get a nice last second field
goal. Doesn't grab just the football, but gets it down.
Yeah,
gets it down and has it ready, laces the way they're supposed to be, and gets his kicker to kick the ball cleanly. Without just a heck of a job by him. You're right, Alex, and it goes to show people they want to talk about nepotism and stuff, but without Clay Sweeney sitting there, and today we talked to Nolan Hoosier about that, and he said in the interview, like, the reason that play that Clay got that ball was because he's a wide receiver. He's athletic enough to go get it. He thinks if that wasn't Clay Sweeney, that doesn't happen. He thinks that ball is not caught, and that it would be a disaster play. But it didn't, because Clay Sweeney was doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, and I don't want to harp on this too much, but I just, when I went to the North Carolina game, there was an obnoxious, overserved Clemson fan that was sitting behind me that was, yelling about Dabo's kids getting to play. Think back in the Sweeney Holder era of Will, Drew, and Clay. How many catastrophic special teams plays has Clemson had by Holder?
There'd be 0.
Yeah. How many bad holds have you seen that led to blocked field goals or missed field goals?
That'd be 0.
Yeah. So these guys are doing their job. And honestly, this has been a problem at other places across the country.
Yeah.
And it is every weekend there's a bad hold that leads to a missed field goal in the NFL and in college, every level of football. But Clemson hasn't had that problem. So just wanted to point that out.
For over a decade, by the way, because
Yep.
it's 2015, right? When
Yep.
Will came in.
Yep.
So it's 2015.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah,
2017. Okay, 2017. Clemson's had a Sweeney.
Yeah.
Holding the ball, and that's amazing stat, right? That's amazing stat.
Yeah.
But
and Jack Smith had another great game too. To the special teams point,
He did.
He's been outstanding all year and done everything you could have asked for him to do.
And I want to go back to what you said about time of possession. 2 weeks in a row, Clemson won the time of possession battle, and 2 weeks in a row, Clemson scored over 40 points, or 38 and 41. They pretty much scored over. They average, if you average it, it's over 40 points, right? So you're beating your team by an average of 40-10 the last 2 weeks, and part of the reason is the defense is getting off the field. They're getting 3 and outs, or they're getting a turnover. They got 2 turnovers this past week, strip sack, fumble, and then an interception. That's what you need if you're Clemson. You need to get those turnovers. That's what Tom Allen's defense wants to do. And Alex, by the way, let's talk about the 3 defensive ends on the field. Oh, my
gosh. And let's talk about putting them on the field at the same time. And
that's
how
what
awesome
I mean.
That is.
That's what I mean.
Holy cow.
Let's talk about that lineup, like what that does. And by the way, does Shaheem Lawson, does he not look like Shaq Lawson?
He does.
He pushed those guards and center right back into the quarterback on both of those sacks.
Dude, he took a double team from Peter Woods on a play,
and allowed Peter
pushed
Woods
him in the
down.
backfield and freed up Woods to make the sack. I mean, this dude is unbelievable, and his development, like you said, reminds you of Shaq Lawson, just the way that this guy's just rapidly progressed every year. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year we're saying, holy cow, I can't believe we were talking about him after that Boston College game. Look at what he's doing now. I mean, that's how quickly and this guy's developing as a defensive end, and for him to be able to play on the inside and make moves on the inside, man, that's gonna throw off a lot of big boys up front the rest of the year.
And Alex, me and you saw him in high school play several times.
Yeah, little skinny kid.
Can you imagine that's the same guy who's now playing basically inside on the defensive line on these third down packages and bull rushing guys?
Yeah, no way. No way.
You would have told me that 5 years ago. I would have laughed at you. I said, that guy ain't going to do that.
Well, I mean, this is a guy that Clemson in the recruiting process challenged to get in the weight room, to get stronger, to take, nutrition seriously. And, man, he's answered the bell, and he's continued to do it. He hasn't got complacent. He's just continued to get better and develop, and it's a result of his training. So it's been really fun to watch him do it on Saturdays.
Alex, we got a couple comments or anything to
Oh yeah, we got a lot. Let's get to some of these. We had a couple people get in about the play calling. This is a good one from Tiger Paw GT, friend of the Clemson Insider.
Absolutely.
Can the Tigers finally play a home game uninterrupted by lightning? The delays sure don't help for fans in the stands.
Tiger Paul, GT, appreciate you, buddy, as always, man. Appreciate you watching and listening and always participating on the boards, too, on the Insider. Listen, hey, man, on TCI, I should say. Hey, you're right, dude. I forgot about that part. I forgot two of the last 3 home games, Clemson's had a lightning delay. A long one, like an hour and a half, 90 minutes. The last 2. Delay. Yeah, the last two. Is it the last two? Yeah, LSU
Yeah,
didn't
Troy and
yeah.
yeah.
So
um,
yeah. So yeah. So
Troy and Syracuse.
let's not have that happen. Right. I think everything looks good for this weekend. I'm gonna look and see, Alex. I'm gonna do a live weather report right now.
This might be the jinx of the century. Everybody, get
I'm
ready.
no, I'm not gonna pull an Ashby Mixon and jinx it. I'm not. I'm not going to do that. If you listen to Tiger pregame show, you know what I mean by that.
Clemson's 2 for 2 on lightning delays when Ashby says it's going to be a beautiful day, or when
Yes.
she says there's going to be light rain.
And she tells everybody you don't have to worry about wearing your blue jeans, or your what do you call blue jeans? What's the
Pants? I don't know.
no, it's like they're called. There's a name for blue jeans, like it's the fabric, Alex, the fabric.
Denim.
Yeah.
That's
So
what it
she's
is.
like, she's like, you don't have to go heavy denim today. And everybody's like, Ashby, we needed to go heavy denim. Quack just made fun of her. It was hilarious. Like, I wish I had my heavy denim jeans on. It was like great. So anyway, Saturday's weather right now, which makes me nervous because on Sunday they're calling for a 70% chance of rain here in the upstate in Clemson. All right. So that makes you nervous, Alex, right? Because does that pull into Saturday? And so right now,
I feel like every time that I've done this in my life, when I look at the forecast, I'm like, oh, it's going to be nice on Saturday, but it's going to rain on Sunday.
Now
it actually rains on Saturday and
the heaviest, they're calling for rain to start around 6 a.m. on Sunday right now. So that's got me nervous because it can move into Saturday night, right? So, but right now on Saturday, what the weather is calling for on Saturday, let me give a good read here. It's the weather is Saturday's low will be 54 degrees between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and the high will be 74 between 3 and 4 p.m. All right, so when the game kicks off at 3:30, the temperature will range from 53 to 74. It will be similar to the actual temperature that says. Precipitation right now is 0%. 0% precipitation.
Knock on wood,
It's gonna be mostly sunny in the morning. And then it'll get to partly cloudy around noon, and it will stay partly cloudy through the night, and we'll get to cloudy around the end of the game. So that's the weather forecast for Saturday's game between Clemson and SMU. Let's hope that rain holds off.
Yeah, Alan Gambrell gets in and says forecast calls for orange in the end zone a bunch.
I like it, the old Pete Yanity orange in the end zone call. And there's orange in the end zone. That's a great call. Pete was good at that.
That's an iconic radio call right there.
It is. And our old friend Pete Yanadu, who always is a friend of the show and listens. So I shout out there to Pete. Listen, Alex, we'll kind of get into it, but before we start talking about SMU, the key thing I think a lot of people want to know is the situation with Cade Klubnik.
Yep.
What is the situation with Cade Klubnik? Well, here it is. I think he's going to be fine.
That was a lot of suspense, Will. A lot of suspense.
I think he's going to be fine. Everything I'm hearing, he's fine. Dabo Sweeney said today they're kind of going to take him in. He'll practice a little bit today. I think he did some things yesterday. He'll practice a little bit more today. They're going to really kind of ramp him up tomorrow, and then he'll be practice Thursday as well and should be ready to go for Saturday. The key day is tomorrow. Wednesday's always the key day. So if Dabo says they're going to be able to ramp him up on Wednesday, he's going to be fine. Everything I'm hearing, he's fine, though, from behind the scenes, stuff like that. Like, it's not Dabo saying, oh, it's, he's day-to-day.
He's day-to-day. Yeah,
there's no day-to-day on this. It's pretty much like what Dabo's telling you is legit, and everything's going to be fine. Looks like Cade Klubnik. I'm not saying that he won't have his ankle wrapped because he probably will. I mean, anybody's got an ankle sprain.
Compression sleeves and stuff he's been wearing this year anyway. So.
Exactly. So, not saying any of that won't happen, but, he's going to play, and I think he's going to be pretty close to 100% and will be ready to go for Clemson when they play SMU. So there's the Cade Klubnik injury thing. Alex, I think that's huge.
Yeah,
because as we've seen the last couple of weeks, Clemson can't afford to lose Cade Klubnik.
Think about what his legs have done the last 2 weeks and opening up the offense too.
It has.
I mean, against Boston College, 9 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown.
Yep.
And it just opens everything up for the whole offense. It opens things up for Adam Randall. It opens things up in the passing game, and it forces defenses to be honest. So you hope that, obviously you want him to play, which sounds like it's going to be the case, but B, you hope that he's full go and can use those legs a little bit too.
Right, exactly. And I think he ran the ball well against North Carolina, if I can find the stupid stats. I'm sorry. He ran, well, maybe didn't. He didn't run the ball as much against North Carolina. He only ran 4 times. But you're right. They used him a lot last week. That's what they want to do in these kind of games. This is one of those games. I'm interested to see how they'll use him since he did get a little banged up last week. So I'm interested to see how they use him. Here's the thing. SMU has some doggone good defensive ends, okay? Yep. They got 2 of the best defensive ends. They lead the ACC with 19 sacks, okay? They lead the ACC in tackles for loss, so they cause havoc in the backfield. Now, they're not very good at pass defense. They rank last in the ACC against the pass, averaging over 300 yards, giving up 300 yards a game through the air. That's a lot of passing yards to give up through the air, okay? So Clemson's going to have opportunity.
They're 16th in the ACC in total defense.
There you
giving
go.
up 423.2 yards per game.
Exactly. And then the passing stats, throw those up real fast.
Against the pass, against the pass, SMU 17th. 315.8 yards per game, last in the conference.
Now, here's the thing. They do have 10 interceptions.
Yep.
But they've also given up 12, 14 touchdown passes.
Yep. Now, rushing defense, so SMU is 4th in the ACC in rushing defense.
Right behind Clemson. Yep, they're good. Yeah, they're good, pretty good at stopping the run.
Yep.
But they're not good at the pass. And you see, they're feast or famine. They're either getting strip sacks and interceptions, or they're giving up 80-yard touchdowns.
Yeah, it's no in between. I mean, they shades of kind of how Clemson's defense was last year. Last year you had some big plays, you had some sacks, interceptions, fumbles, that kind of thing.
It wasn't that bad stopping the pass.
But they weren't that bad against
the run. Clemson struggled against the run last year, not against the pass.
Right.
So,
but that's what I'm saying. Shades, down to down, they're not very good. But they'll make some big plays that can change a game.
Right. That's they make game-changing plays with their defense, and their 2 defensive ends are a big reason why, because they get up the field and rush. Now, with that, Alex, this is what we're talking about with Cade Klubnik. And why it's so good to have him back, and you hope he is close to 100%. Because if your defensive ends are running upfield, what are you going to do with your quarterback?
You're going to
quarterback draw.
Yeah, you're going to run the draw all day.
You're going to run the draw all day because they're going to rush upfield, and the lanes are going to be open for that. So you take advantage of that, or you screen them to death, which Clemson can do with Adam Randall, which we've seen a lot of the last couple of weeks. So I think Clemson's got ways to counter them. Right in this situation. And so I think when I look at this game and I look at this matchup, I like this matchup, even though they do create turnovers and stuff like that. But I like the fact that Clemson's going to have, if they could just block for 3 seconds, there's going to be all kinds of guys running wide open, because everybody who's played SMU this year has guys running wide open all over the place.
Yep.
So, and we know what Clemson's wide receivers can do when they get the ball in their hands, right? Yeah. This is an opportunity for Clemson to have a huge week in the passing game. I'm looking for Cade to go over 300 yards passing in this game. And I'm looking for Bryant Wesco to go for 150, TJ Moore to go for 100. I mean, I think both guys can just have an outstanding game, long as you keep those defensive ends off of Cade Klubnik.
Well, the other thing, too, is you'd expect, some tight end yards in this game too, because SMU knows this. They know they're not very good down and down against the pass, so they're going to do things to try to take away the deep shot. Mm-hmm. But you think that tight ends could have a big game over the middle too.
You can, if they're going to do that, you can, and that also does what, Alex? If they're trying to take away the deep shots, what does that do?
That allows you to run the football.
There you go.
That's the name of the game.
I was listening to Aaron Rodgers' interview the other day after the game, and everybody's like, why don't you guys take shots downfield? He's like, because everybody's in cover 2.
Yeah, so I mean, every team in the NFL is running too high.
Yeah, so he says if they're running too high, then I'm going to run the football. It's as simple as that. If you give me that look, he's like, now if they sit there like Cleveland did a lot, and they did throw some deep balls down the sideline against Cleveland, they're going to sit there single high. Then of course you're going to take more shots because they're loading up to stop the run. So it's just simple football 101. So if they're going to try to take away the deep shots, then the middle's going to be open, and you're going to be able to run the football as well. Those 2 things are going to be there. And that also does what? That neutralizes two very good defensive ends when you can do that. That's why I like this matchup. And I know people are worried about it and they're thinking this is actually a good matchup for Clemson. This game,
I think so too. And even looking at SMU's offensive numbers, like we think of SMU as kind of like this prolific offensive team. I mean, they're 11th in the ACC in total offense. They're right behind Clemson.
right?
Running the football, they're 10th. Passing the football, they're 7th, right behind Clemson. So I mean, they're really like a peer of Clemson in terms of offense. And you feel like you match up decently well against what they do offensively as well. So, I mean, I feel like this is a pretty good matchup for Clemson, all things considered.
Well, yes. I think it's a good matchup for Clemson on that side of the ball, and that's where Clemson's going to have an opportunity to do some things. Now, on the other side of the ball, Kevin Jennings. Keith Jennings, great Clemson wide receiver back in the day, played for the Chicago Bears. Kevin Jennings is really, I mean, we all saw him in the ACC Championship game last year. Now, but here's the interesting thing about this matchup. What did Tom Allen do to him last year in the playoffs?
Oh, man, he made him look absolutely silly. They were disguising coverages. They were sending blitzers from places he didn't know they were coming. I mean, they really confused the heck out of him up there in State College last year.
And I think you're gonna see some of that again this year. They're gonna try to confuse him with different looks and things of that nature. The secondary is gonna have to play well. There's no doubt about that. Because here's the thing with Kevin Jennings, what he does. He's very athletic and he can run the ball and he's fast if he wants to, but he doesn't want to.
Right.
He's like a Patrick Mahomes. He wants to move around, kind of manipulate the pocket, and then wait for one of his guys to be wide open downfield. And then he hits a big play on you, a big splash play. That's what they do. Now, you look at their offensive numbers and you say, okay, they're averaging 34 points a game or something like that. And that's about what you expect. But then when you look at their total yards, they're actually behind Clemson in total yards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But why is that? Well, I just mentioned on the other side of the ball, the defense forces turnovers.
Yeah, they get a lot of short fields. They've had some defensive touchdowns, so that makes things a lot easier on your offense.
That's what they do. Their defense gives up yards and stuff like that, but they create turnovers. They get short fields for their offense. And so, of course, they're so good on offense, they take advantage of those things. So, obviously, turnover margin is going to be huge in this game for Clemson, not to lose the turnover margin, not to give them those turnovers that they create and give Kevin Jennings and they want Kevin Jennings in that offense to have to move the ball down the field, something they're not used to doing.
Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah, and Kevin Jennings too. Here's another thing about him: he's incredibly efficient. Mm-hmm. He's completing 71.7% of his passes this year. He does have 6 interceptions, but second in the ACC in passing. I mean, this guy's a playmaker, and he's being smart with the football. I mean, he has some turnovers, but kind of to be expected when you're throwing the ball.
6 interceptions in 6 games. That's not smart with the football, but he takes risks is what he does. He'll take risk. You can use that to your advantage, knowing he's going to take risk. So that's why you disguise coverages and do things like that, because he's prone to turn the ball over because he's going to take those risks. He's going to see a guy doing something and he's going to think this is what he's seeing, and Tom Allen could change it up on him. And that's when he throws the interception or something like that. Clemson's got to take advantage of that. They got to do those things on defense, because I think personally, I like this matchup. I think we saw that last year, that Clemson's defense, I think early in the game played well, forced turnovers, got ahead. SMU did nothing during that first half, really, that really worried Clemson. Clemson was getting after him. They were getting him outside the pocket. They did a lot of good things in that first half. In the second half, SMU adjusted, right? And they started moving the football, and we know what happened after that. Clemson's got to play like they did in the first half. TJ Parker does in that game, like Peter Woods did in that first half. That defense, that back end's got to play well. Khalil Barnes. One thing they need to be in this game is physical on the back end.
Yep.
And I think that was when he talked about how their wide receivers are physical. They get after you. Clemson's secondary's got to be physical on the back end. They got to be in this game, because one thing Jennings does, just like I mentioned, he's like a Patrick Mahomes. He likes to throw the ball up there and let his receivers go make plays. And if you're DB, you got to go win that play. you know, and that's he trusts his receivers to make the plays, and that's what makes him special as a quarterback, because good quarterbacks do that. They say, I trust my receiver. I'm going to throw it up and let him get the ball.
Yep.
And so
I mean, and he's got some prolific receivers too. I mean, Romello Brinson is averaging like 80 yards a game. He's been huge for them. They got
guys
a couple
in the
of
ACC.
Yep, they got a couple other burners. They got a running back that can hurt you in TJ Harden.
Mm-hmm.
So they got playmakers all over the field. But I see a lot of people getting in here. And so Greg Murray, the key is pressure on SMU.
Yes.
You got to take him off his spot, and if you're confusing him in coverage, you're going to be able to take him off his spot, and that's when he makes mistakes and throws the ball up in jeopardy.
That's right, and that's if you go back and look at the Penn State game last year, when he was pressured, he turned the ball over. Last year against Clemson, when he was pressured, he turned the ball over. Here's another thing you need to do, Alex. Kevin Jennings is my height. I think they say he's 5'11" or something like that. He ain't 5'11". He's my height.
Yep.
Well, what do you do when a guy's that? Well, a couple things. You get pressure and you get your hands up, but don't just do that. Film study is so valuable when you play a quarterback like Kevin Jennings. And what I mean by that is you understand how he allows himself to see the field. Right. So if he's a shorter guy and he's sitting in the middle of the pocket, you need to rope around. If you can't get to him, rope around and get your hands up in the middle of that pocket and stick your hands up in the air and mess up his sight.
Right.
And that's how you get batted balls, tips, or what?
Picks.
Tips or picks. Yep. So, that's what you got to do. You got to get your hands up. You got to get your hands up in those passing lanes. Film study will tell you that. So you're hoping the Clemson players are watching the film of what he does when the pocket breaks down and how he tries to help his sight line. That's how you get tips and interceptions and things of that nature. It's going to be very important in this game that they do that, because he is a smaller guy. But as Clemson showed in that ACC Championship game last year, look at the Khalil Barnes interception.
Yep.
Well, why did that happen? Well, he got pressure and he rolled out, and he didn't even see Khalil Barnes sitting there. Why? Because he was worried about the pressure.
Right.
And that's what you got to make. You might have to make a quarterback get off his spot and feel uncomfortable. It's the number one key. Pressure is what everybody loves. Sacks. I love sacks, right? I love a good sack, but good sack lunch, but pressure is what's key. It's about hitting the quarterback. It's about disrupting things. It's about making him think. It's not so much about sacking him and getting him on the ground. It's pressure. Clemson's done that well the last couple of weeks. That's why the two quarterbacks they've played have looked average, and they need to make this guy, who's the most dynamic, the guy they've played this year, period. Yep. They need to make him look average if they're going to try to win this game.
Well, and I think a lot of what you're talking about is why we're going to see that 3 defensive end look a good bit on Saturday. Because you're going to want guys looping around. You're going to want, these exotic twist stunts on the defensive line to help throw him off his spot and make him feel pressure where there's not pressure.
Mm-hmm.
When you start doing stunts like that, that's when guys start seeing ghosts in the pocket.
Right.
So when you play 3 defensive ends, you can really make that, happen a lot sooner in a game.
Right. Now, getting back to the other side, the same thing, that's what they're going to try to do to Cade. Yeah. And Clemson's got to have a clean pocket for him. Because Cade, when he's got a clean pocket, you've watched it the last 2 weeks, that's when he's at his best. Yep. He really is. There's one play. Do you remember the play that he hit Bryant Wesco in the flats, and Wesco took it like 30 yards down the sideline, and it set up, I think, their second touchdown or whatever?
Yep.
Okay, that's the same play that they ran against Syracuse, and TJ Moore was wide open, and he didn't throw it to him.
Yep.
And now, why didn't he throw it to him, Alex? It's because of what you just said. It's just what you just said. He was, because
he was seeing ghosts instead of seeing his open receivers.
Exactly. And that's what pressure does to quarterbacks. And that's what Clemson's got to make Keith Jennings have that. Kevin Jennings have that. Excuse me. I go again.
You're going to do it all week.
I am now. I'm going to spell Keith Jennings out on my story.
Just go ahead and change the autocorrect from Keith to Kevin and hope that Keith Adams Jr. doesn't have a big game on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, Dabo was asked about that today. A good answer story I wrote on the Clips this side. Dabo was asked about What about the running back rotation? You're going to change that up because Dabo's like, no, we're going to continue to do what we do. But then somebody follows that up, says, well, what about Peter Woods? And Dabo's like, well, that's a guy maybe we need to get more touches to, because he had two big carries in that game, one for a first down and then one for a touchdown.
Well, the touchdown carry, if the end zone wasn't there, he might have gone for 15 or 20.
Dabo said he could have gone for 70.
I don't know if he could have gone for 70. I think he probably runs out of steam before he gets the goal line.
Wouldn't you like to see that, though? Peter Woods going for 70 yards, coming out of the tailback power formation. How do you like that formation, by the way, with
I love it.
Two offensive linemen in the backfield. And
in like an offset eye, like a power eye.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
Man, it was awesome.
And Peter Woods standing up as a tailback.
Well,
Jerome
also,
Bettis
let's talk about...
He looked like Jerome Bettis back there.
On that same play, too, a guy we hadn't really talked about on the show yet today, Braden Jacobs just mauled somebody. I mean, just killed somebody.
And he killed everybody that whole game.
Talk about a guy who's shown rapid development.
Yes.
Think about a couple weeks ago watching that guy, and you're like, man, maybe this dude's a bust. And the last 2 weeks,
but
I know. I'm talking overreactions.
Yes.
And then the last 2 weeks, man, he's been a beast up there for you.
Yeah, he was. Here's the thing. Remember, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. When does he take over that? Because we heard everything in spring and then the summer camp, how well he was doing, but it wasn't translating to the games. And so you're having to keep Tristan Lee out there. Now Lee gets another ankle injury. You got to put Jacobs. He's got to play more. He looked dominant in that game, and I think he graded higher than anybody on the offensive line in that game. So here he is. This is your future at left tackle. Alex, why not? And Tristan Lee's going to play guard in the NFL.
Yep.
When Tristan 100%. Lee, if Tristan Lee's healthy to play, I think Clemson's best offensive line has Jacobs at left tackle, Tristan Lee at left guard.
Yep. I think you're 100% right. Their makeup tells you that. I mean, Jacobs is just so long and has that, tremendous kick step drop that just makes him tailor-made to be a future NFL left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And, Tristan Lee, he doesn't have that size, but he's athletic. He can move down the line.
He can get upfield fast.
He can get upfield fast and get to the second level. Man, I think it's perfect, and it's working out perfectly for Matt Luke. I mean, you think probably in the offseason, Matt Luke is looking at his offensive line thinking the same thing. But like you mentioned, you just weren't ready to do that. But now the situation has made that the case.
Yes, you're seeing that freshman take the steps that you talked about, and that's what you wanted to see. Now you're feeling more comfortable. Okay, maybe we can go ahead and move to what we want to originally do, if these things happen. And now Tristan Lee, though, Dabo mentioned today, they want to get him healthy. Sounds like he's not 100% healthy. Dabo mentioned that we got to get him healthy, which tells me that we're probably going to see Jacobs on that. Do we see Jacobs start Saturday?
We might. I would not be surprised at all. And even if he doesn't start, I wouldn't be surprised if he has more reps.
Yes.
Starting's not everything. It's everything that we talk about because it's the first thing you see. It's the easiest thing to pay attention to.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets more reps on Saturday either way.
I'm with you 100% on that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and where they go from here on that offensive line. If Tristan Lee can get healthy and Jacobs continues to do what he's doing, that offensive line could be the strength of this team like we thought it could be.
Yeah.
Going forward. It really can be because I think Tristan Lee's your best option at left guard. He really
I think
is.
so too. I think so too.
And
I wanted to talk about running back a little bit too. Do you think we'll see a light switch moment in these next 3 weeks for a backup running back? Because you just haven't seen.
I think you might have saw it on Saturday against Boston College. I think you might have saw it with Adams. I don't know. I mean, he looked good.
Here's the thing about Adams, man. I don't know if the reason he's not getting on the field is knowledge of the playbook or if it's pass protection. But one thing is certain: when you hand the ball to Keith Adams Jr., he's going to hit the hole like a daggum bowling ball. He reminds me of the way he runs, not necessarily attacking the ground this way, but the way he runs kind of reminds me of Pacheco for the Chiefs. He just, it doesn't look like he ever really knows what he's doing, but he wants to get upfield, and he's going to run over whoever's in front of him to get there.
You saw this?
Yeah, John Grant, good point. Need to use Antonio Williams at quarterback and Peter Woods at running back. Hey, Antonio, he's got to have the highest QBR in the country. Just saying.
Well, it's the highest in Clemson history right now. He's 4 passes, 4 completions, 4 touchdowns. I mean, you can't get any better than that. I mean, there's just no way you get any better than that. So
At a certain point, you don't want to mess it up.
No.
Like on Saturday, they ran the pass play again, and there was nobody open. He tucked it and ran for like 8 yards.
yes,
That's the other thing too is he's got some sense with the ball. He didn't just. How many wide receivers have you seen on that play that just throw a duck,
throw it up,
and panic, and get it?
Or they throw the ball and they get called for intentional grounding because they can't throw the ball in that situation like a quarterback can.
Exactly.
He
made the right decision. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe he's your backup quarterback right now. I don't know.
Maybe so. Hunter Renfrow was a few years ago. So maybe So I remember when the best part, I think either Trevor or Dabo tells this story. So when Trevor Lawrence got hurt against Syracuse, Hunter goes over to Dabo when your boy went in to play quarterback. So when he went in to play, who was it that went in to play quarterback that day?
Bryce.
Chase Bryce. So when Bryce went on in, Hunter Renfrow went over to Dabo during the TV time and he says, "Does this mean I'm now the backup?" And Dabo says, "Yes." So be ready. That's kind of where Antonio Williams is right now. Like he's the backup in a way. He throws the football better. He's second to Cade Klubnik throwing the football right now, in my opinion. I mean, on the team. Yeah. I mean, we've seen what we've seen with our own eyes. But going back to the running game, first of all, I think Gideon Davison has some chance to do something if the offensive line would just block. It seems like they had all their breakdowns when that guy catches the ball. Like there's a MA, there's a guy like not blocking anybody. It's like every time Gideon Davison carries the ball, it seems like. Just like, can they just block for the guy who's the fastest guy on the field?
Yeah, and they've done some things to try to give him the ball in space. It just hasn't worked. Like you mentioned, it's like every time they try to get this dude the ball in space, something goes wrong. You feel like at some point he's got to have that like Travis Etienne at Louisville moment where he just finds an open space and just goes.
Yes.
And we're just sitting here waiting for that moment. I mean, same thing with Easy Amume.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a burner too. If he gets the ball in open
week.
Space, he can get you too.
He looked good last week too, running the football.
Yeah.
He really did. I think he averaged like 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And when he ran it, everybody looked pretty good running the football. Clemson had 226 yards rushing, but nobody over 50 yards. I mean, that's you like that.
That's a team rushing effort.
That's
a team rush game.
So you like the fact that they ran the football. They didn't give up on it. They worked on some things. So they did a lot of good things running the football. They need to do that this week. I don't think they need to rush for 200 yards. They need to go for back $130. I think if they go for $130 and they take care of the football, Clemson's offense is going to roll. I really believe that because that means the passing game is going to do what it needs to do.
The way the air raid works, you just have to have enough rushing to open things up and keep a defense honest. And the way that, when Cade gets confident and things are going well for the offense, he can dice you up. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. If you're going to get man coverage, or you're going to try to sit back in zone, he can pick you apart either way. He's just got to get confidence and get rolling.
He definitely does. I apologize. So here we go. All right, Alex, it's time for our pick six. I know you don't want to talk about this, but
do we have to do this anymore?
Yes,
I'm sick of this, man.
Yeah,
I've gone 3-3 like 17 weeks in a row.
But the more important thing is though, I went 5-1, and so
Well, did you, William?
I did. I went and looked at all my stuff.
Did you?
I do. I got them all written down. So, and you're the one who always messes.
I got them written down, and I had you at 4-2, brother.
No, you're not, buddy. I'm 5-1. I looked at it twice last week. Let me pull it up. All right, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. I got it right here.
Alabama plus the 3 at Missouri.
You took.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Because I verified.
Alex, look at right here. There it is. W and A.
You had 3.
You wrote it wrong, Alex. You wrote it wrong, buddy.
I did. I verified on the show.
Who's the one that messes up and who does it? I did not mess this up. I did not. I wrote it. Alabama.
You took Missouri, so you got it right. So you're saying you got it wrong.
I'm saying I got it right.
Oh, you
Missouri.
said Alabama plus the 3.5.
No,
You
I
have
said
Missouri plus
I
the
said
3.5.
plus 3.5 Missouri. I was looking at. I was saying the spread.
You
is what
said
I was
it
trying to
wrong.
say. I was trying to say the
Yep.
spread.
All right.
Then I picked Ohio State.
Yep. 2-0.
Then I picked Pitt.
Yep. 3-0.
All right. I picked
Oklahoma.
I missed Oklahoma.
Yep. 3-1.
I picked Indiana.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I got it right here. WA, right here, Indiana. I said, Alex, me and you talked about this. We said we don't think they're going to cover on the 7.5.
Okay. That's the one I wrote down wrong. So I'm actually better than I thought I was.
Yes, because we both said that line was high. And we're like, Indiana's a good football team. We think they're not going to go lay an egg again.
All right.
And we thought Oregon would win, but we thought Indiana would cover.
You're right. So you were 5-1 and I was 4-2. I feel a little bit better now. We can keep doing the pick six now.
Okay, now we got, see, you're 4-2. So there we
Yep.
go. And so that makes, so we get back here, we got a little accident. I like the out-arguing, though. That's good.
I know.
We
We got to keep each other honest.
We got to keep each other honest.
Well, as you can tell, this is a very well-organized system of cat scratch on a notebook. So
what? So here we go. Alex was 4-2 last week. I was 5-1.
Yep.
Alex is now 21-21 on the season. So he's up to 500. Is that correct? I'm right on that, right?
No, I'm
You were
yes,
17-18,
correct.
so you're 21-21. And now I'm 25-17
Yep.
on the season.
Yep.
So there we go.
You know what? We can keep doing this. I changed my mind. When I had myself at 3-3 and had Will at 4-2 because I for whatever reason, wrote our initials by Oregon when we both picked Indiana. I didn't feel as good about this. But at 21-21, I feel a lot better.
That's that one game. How much does that help you? That's just amazing.
Hey, ask Clemson. Ask Clemson, man. If they would have lost last week, you're sitting at 2-4. That doesn't feel good. 3-3 feels a lot better.
Yes. By the way, everybody, when you saw me and Alex going at each other like that, that is our normal phone conversations, by the way, when we're on the phone with each other.
Except there's usually some words that we can't say on the podcast thrown in there. Sorry, Grandma. It's just mine and Will's private conversation.
But we have a good time. We have a good time every time.
We talk like Irishmen when we just yell at each other and get red in the face.
And everybody's thinking we're fighting when we're not. We're just, like Rachel will be like, why are y'all fighting? We're not fighting.
We're not fighting. We're just arguing.
It's different.
Right. So the pick six, our podcast is presented by FanDuel. These odds are all from FanDuel. And this is a really fun.
Go to FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
And this is a really fun week in the pick six. And it's not an easy week. I'll say that. These are some tough games.
These are some tough games.
So let's start out. We're starting in the ACC.
Okay.
This is what should have been College Game Day this week. But apparently College Game Day only goes to SEC campuses now.
No. I wonder why that is.
Yeah. So let's call it what it is.
That's surprising.
Yeah. ACC Huddle will probably be there. Eric McLean will be there.
Now, I like my boy Eric. So I'm our guest of the show, friend of the show. We like our boy Eric.
Yeah, so watch the Huddle on Saturday because they'll be at the real campus.
Exactly. Go ahead.
All right. Number 12, Georgia Tech at Duke. Duke is a 1.5-point favorite at Wallace Wade Outdoor Stadium.
Yep. Give me Duke.
William?
Give me Duke. Give me Duke. I think Duke's going to beat them. I think Duke's going to put pressure on them. Georgia Tech has got to take the lead and score. They're not made for coming behind, even though they did against Wake Forest. But they also should have lost that game. They did lose that game. The official totally screwed it up. That game was over. Game, set, match. Wake Forest did everything at that point to win the game. And they would have won the game had the official called the right call. So, yes, Georgia Tech gets bit this week. Georgia Tech is not undefeated anymore. Duke wins this game by at least 2 touchdowns. I'm calling it now.
Dang. I'm going the opposite. I think Georgia Tech is going to get it done. This is where I'm going to gain a game finally on Will and the Pick'em, something I haven't done all season. I'm going to beat you this week because of Georgia Tech and Haynes King. He's going to go up there and show us why he's the truth and the toughest dude in college football.
Duke is got Manny
Diaz. Mensa's legit, though. That dude is
and they got Manny Diaz calling plays on defense. And a guy that can just run the ball and do nothing else. That's their only guy that can run the ball. Nobody else can run the ball for them. It ain't going to work. Georgia Tech has no offensive players anywhere on the field. They have nobody. All it is Haynes King. And I'm like, and Wake Forest had them. Wake Forest had them. They had it won. They had a 2-touchdown lead, gave it up. If Wake Forest can go up 2 touchdowns, now they couldn't hold it. Duke can hold it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
They
Duke's
keep
going to
winning.
go up 2 touchdowns on them. I'm telling you that right now. And Duke's got a running game. And what do? They run the clock, and they're going to run the ball. Duke's a legit good team. And that's why Clemson's got to win this game against SMU, because in a couple weeks when they play Duke, that's going to be hard. It's going to be harder than SMU.
Well,
I think.
the best scenario in this game for Clemson would be that Duke wins the game, right, and Georgia Tech loses.
Correct. Absolutely.
So that would be the
Clemson can
best
take care of business
in
against Duke.
Clemson's miracle scenario to get to the ACC championship game. They need that.
Hold on, we got something here. I like Tiger Ball GT here. Speaking of officials, I don't think I've seen a crew screw up spotting the ball more than the BC. Thank you, Tiger Ball GT. Yes, the whole game I'm like, what is going on?
They were horrible. I mean,
was
what was the
awful.
one play? Wesco caught the ball like 3 yards in front of the sticks, and they spotted him like 2 yards short.
Yes. I'm like, what is going on? And Dabo's even looking, I'm like, what's going on? They were horrible. They were horrible. Go ahead, Alex. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that crew is going to be at the Duke game, and they're going to give Georgia Tech favorable spots. And Duke. Just kidding. I don't know that. All right, next game.
Yes.
Top 20 matchup in the SEC. Number 10, LSU, heading to Nashville to face off with number 17, Vandy. Vandy and Diego Pavia and Clark Lee and the boys are a 2.5-point favorite. I told you this is a hard week in the pick'em.
2.5 points. LSU's defense is legit, though.
Yes.
And I think they can shut him down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go LSU on this one. I think LSU give me. I don't like that home team. That -2.5. It's such.
But let's
big
call
number.
it what it is. There's going to be more LSU fans in the stands than Vandy fans anyway.
Yeah, and I like LSU's defense. It's a really good defense. It really is. We've seen that week in and week out now, no matter who they play. I'm gonna go. They traveled to Clemson and played well. I'm gonna go ahead and go with LSU on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with LSU too. I tried to bait you into the Vandy pick so I could maybe grab another one from you, but I'm going LSU in this one as well.
All right, go ahead.
All right, the next one. Number 14, Oklahoma is a 5.5-point favorite at South Carolina in Williams-Brice Stadium.
South Carolina fired their offensive line coach.
Yes, and John Mateer threw 3 interceptions against Texas.
Yeah.
With a broke thumb.
I've said all along South Carolina's not going to lose all 5 of these games. And Oklahoma's going to have a hangover from Texas. And I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina wins this game straight up. So I'm going to go Gamecocks to cover the -5.5.
Yeah, because the line's 5.5, I'm going to go with South Carolina in this one as well. I think Oklahoma can win the football game because let's call it what it is. South Carolina can't move the ball 6 inches. And I don't think changing offensive line coaches.
This is one of those games where they get like the weird interception or the
they might get like a
punt return or a block punt or something that changes the tide. Yeah. And they're playing Brent Venables, so all the Carolina fans are going to want to beat him because it's Brent Venables. And and by the way, let's keep in mind Brent Venables. If anybody has shut Carolina down, it's been Brent Venables. Remember, I mean, they've never been able to do anything.
Well, here's the other thing: if South Carolina
they beat them last year,
well, I kind of feel similar about South Carolina that I felt about Texas and Oklahoma last week. I thought Oklahoma would beat Texas because they would limit the Texas offense, but the Oklahoma offense just gave them short fields the whole game.
Remember last year, this game in Oklahoma last year, that South Carolina, I think, maybe had 200 yards of total offense and won the game because there was a punt return, a block punt, I think South Carolina.
It was like a punt return, a block punt, and a scoop and score.
They had like 3 non-offensive touchdowns, South Carolina did.
Yeah.
That's what they do in these kind of weird games. I can see that happening again. So
I could too. The state fair is there.
Yeah, I say that 5.5 is a weird number for the road team to have against the home team. I'm just like, that's kind of weird. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with South Carolina to cover on this one.
Yeah, the next one is the one that Game Day is actually at for some reason. Instead of maybe going somewhere different and doing something cool, and maybe 2 teams that are overachieving that nobody expected anything from. Instead of that,
let's go to the basics.
Yeah, instead of that, they're going to go to number 5 Ole Miss at number 9 Georgia. Georgia is a 7.5-point favorite against an Ole Miss team that struggled mightily against Wazoo last week.
Yes, Georgia's a 7.5-point favorite. Give me the Bulldogs. I think the Bulldogs are gonna roll in this game. I think it's time for Lane Kiffin to lose the game that he's always going to lose. He loses at least one or two every year. It hasn't happened yet. I'm waiting for it to happen. I thought it was going to happen last week because that was like a classic Ole Miss, a Lane Kiffin kind of game where he loses. They found a way to win it. You give them credit for that. But I think they're just playing with time right now. It's just a matter of time. They're going to Georgia. Georgia escaped Auburn with the win, and I mean escaped because that was a touchdown.
And that was a timeout.
Yeah, and that was a timeout, so but I think Georgia's just got that. They're going to have that mojo going. They're going to want to win at home because they lost their last home game. I'm going Bulldogs.
Yeah, I would say the same thing if I thought Georgia could be a little bit more prolific on offense, but a 7.5-point favorite, I think Ole Miss will cover the spread but lose the football game. So I'm picking Ole Miss.
You're going to go with Ole Miss. Okay, so we got another chance there, Alex.
Yep.
All right,
Hopefully
what else
it works for me and doesn't put me 2 more games behind. All right, the next one.
It's going to put you 2 more games behind, by the way.
Thanks, I appreciate that. The next one is something that everybody looks forward to in October. Number 11, Tennessee at number 6, Alabama. The Crimson Tide are an 8.5-point favorite at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
How much?
8.5.
Ooh.
That's a huge spread for this game.
Golly. Okay, give me Tennessee. Who's Tennessee played? I know the one loss, but who they played other than the one loss?
Syracuse.
Like I said.
Let me see. Tennessee's schedule. So Tennessee, pulling it up here. They have played. They beat Syracuse. They beat the tar out of East Tennessee State. They beat the tar out of UAB. They, pulled one out of their tail at Mississippi State. They beat Arkansas by 3 last week.
Who's not good?
Yep.
Yeah, give me Alabama minus the 8.5. Tennessee's just playing with fire right now, and I think that fire catches up with them. It's a rivalry game. It's at Alabama. They hate Tennessee. They're gonna want to just beat the snot out of them. I give me that 8.5 in Alabama.
Oh man, this is a tough one.
And Tennessee's not really that good. I think they're overrated.
I think they're
That's
good.
Why I asked you to pull. That's why I asked you to pull that schedule up. Because look at those games. Look who they've beaten. They barely beat a average Mississippi State team, and they barely beat a bad Arkansas team. And then the other wins they got, and the only
they should have beaten Georgia.
What happened? But they lost.
Yeah, I missed a field goal, chip shot field goal.
But they lost.
Yeah,
and that game was at home, right?
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, they had a double-digit lead twice in that game.
Yep.
And they lost it. So I don't trust Tennessee at all, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I trust Alabama because Alabama didn't play really well last week. And that was a game I thought Alabama could lose, right? Because they had these 2 momentum wins and all that. And they found a way to win that game last week. They came back and found a way to win. That told me a lot about Alabama and who this team is this year. I think Alabama's a legit team. Tennessee, I don't think is.
But Tennessee doing it against a bad team on the road doesn't get the same benefit from William.
Because look who Alabama beat the 2 previous weeks.
I know, you're right. You're right.
That's why. Who's Tennessee beat?
Nobody.
I'm
going to – 8.5 is so big.
Right.
I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to say Alabama.
Okay.
Just 8.5 is such a big spread. Like, I wouldn't put money on this game to save my life. Like, if I was actually betting, I'd stay far, far away from 8.5. But
right, I'm with you.
For the sake of this pick'em, where I'm 21-21, I'm gonna pick Alabama.
You already got 2 splits. You got 2 splits already. You're good. You're good. You're like you can either lose both of them, win both of them, or split.
Yep.
Right. So that's how you're thinking.
And our final one, SMU at Clemson.
This one surprises me.
Clemson, also an 8.5 favorite. They opened at 10.5.
I know.
And the line's gone down 2 points.
As it should.
10.5-point
It
favorite.
should continue to go down.
Yeah.
Clemson is not right now, by just looking at the two teams, is not 8.5 points better than SMU. So that's telling me if this game was in Dallas, that Clemson is a 5.5-point favorite on the road. No. You're telling me Clemson's almost a touchdown favorite on the road against this team? No, they're not. I'm sorry. Give me SMU to cover the 8.5. I think this is going to be like a touchdown game or less. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a tight game. SMU's a good football team. I think Clemson's getting better. This is not going to be a blowout game, just like the ACC Championship game wasn't. Give me SMU to cover that 8.5.
Yeah, I've got SMU covering the 8.5 as well. I have Clemson winning the football game, though, so rest easy on that.
I do too. Yep.
That's your guy who's 500 in the pick'em is picking the Tigers this week. I know that makes you feel good. You got, flip a coin, 50-50 chance that Clemson does win.
There is. I got Clemson winning this game 34-27. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think you're going to see a lot of offense. I think both teams – I think Clemson's defense – the reason I like this matchup is I think overall, I think Clemson's defense is better.
Yep.
I think Clemson can not stop the run, and I think Clemson has proven they can – what they did Boston College last week and pretty much even LSU.
Yep.
Clemson can stop the passing team. That Clemson's pass defense has not been that bad. It's only Syracuse. I know people are like, Will, what about Syracuse? Yes, Syracuse did it. Yes, they didn't come to play against Syracuse, and they got booed. That's another reason why I like Clemson in this game. The last time they were in this stadium, they got booed.
Yep.
That defense got booed off the field in the first half, and they deserved it because they gave up 27 points and 306 yards of offense.
Yep.
But since then, since that game, since that second half of SMU, I mean of not SMU, second half of Syracuse, they didn't give up. They gave up barely 100 yards in that second half and gave up only one score.
Yep.
And then what they've done the last 2 weeks, neither team has got over 300 yards on them. You know, they've held both teams under 100 yards rushing. And say what you will, Boston College wasn't struggling on offense. That hasn't been their issue this year.
Yep.
You know, their issue's been the defensive side of the ball and all the injuries. So Clemson's defense shut down a pretty good Boston College offense last week and really just made them not existent.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective there, Boston College still, after last week, is 5th in the ACC in passing.
Yes.
So this is a top-of-the-league passing team, and Clemson was able to limit them. So I think, similarly, Clemson wins this because it has a better defense. The way Clemson loses the game is with catastrophic turnovers. If you have catastrophic turnovers, or turnovers at all, if you give SMU short fields, they're going to beat you. That's just what it is.
Yes, I agree. All right,
so
Alex.
Take care of football. Win the game.
Repeat really quick on our pick six.
Yeah, so we don't have another argument next week.
You got Georgia Tech plus the 1.5 at Duke. I got Duke minus the 1.5.
Yep.
All right. We both got LSU plus the 2.5 against Vandy. We both got South Carolina plus the 5.5 against Oklahoma. You have Ole Miss plus the 7.5 at Georgia. I got Georgia minus the 7.5.
Yep.
And then we both have Alabama minus 8.5 against Tennessee. And we both have SMU plus the 8.5 against Clemson.
Correctamundo.
Okay, there we go.
Didn't have any mix-ups next week.
There we go. But we both predict Clemson to beat SMU. You've heard it here first. Clemson gets a big home win, ends the curse of the Power Four curse in Death Valley, and starts turning the table. And we see
starts
how
a new win streak at Death Valley.
Starts a new win streak.
Only one.
Starts a new win streak at Death Valley and sets up what could be a really good game against Duke, if I'm right, in a couple of weeks. So anyway, for Alex Dodd, I'm Will Vandervort. Appreciate you guys talking to us on Believe in Clemson Football. We'll talk to you next time.